Analyzing the personal privacy and security concerns that arise with any use of computational systems. With the advent of internet, our computers are no longer stand-alone devices. In fact, now they are connected to millions of other computers in the world. Due to this connectivity, many security concerns also arise. Primarily, we want to secure our data according to the following three aspects: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. First is confidentiality. It means that we want to keep our data as confidential. We do not want to share it with unintended persons. Integrity, it means that we want to keep the data correct. For example, we do not want that the website of our bank shows less amount balance than it actually is. Availability, it means that we want to have access to the data when we want. If data is not available when needed, then in some cases it becomes useless. All these aspects are important during the processing, storage, and transmission of data in a computerized system. Computation is a general term for any type of information processing that can be represented mathematically. For example, your grade in ninth class will be computed according to your marks in every subject. In everyone's life, there is stunning growth of usage of computational systems. This fact is behind raising concerns about privacy. When we surf the internet, personal information is generated that may be of interest to businesses or people with malevolent aims. Companies want to read minds of the web surfers, and sometimes they store some piece of information with the web surfer called cookies. Using cookies, companies are able to track purchases and gather personal data. They can use this information to target their marketing. It can be considered an invasion of their privacy. Next topic is simple encryption. What is encryption? Encryption is the process of encoding data in such a way that only authorized person can read it. Encoding means conversion of the data to an unreadable format, which is called ciphertext. A secret code called key is required to read the data. A key is just like a password. In ancient times, when messages were carried by foot for miles, kings and rulers used to encrypt the letters they would send to allies. This helped to protect the secrecy of the messages in case they were stolen. A computer expert who can steal data when it moves from one location to other is called hacker. Encryption helps us to save data from hackers. Here are some activities to help you how you can encrypt any text or any information. Next topic is information of encryption for everyday life on the internet. Encryption is one of the most important methods for providing data security. In everyday life on the internet, where vast amounts of personal information are stored on multiple places. So it is important to know how to keep data private. Encryption is most important because it allows you to secure data from illegal access. Importance of encryption can be described in the following 3 points. Protection from hackers. Hackers do not just steal information, they can also alter the data to commit fraud. For example, in a bank transaction of online money transfer, they can fraud by changing the target account number. Second one is encryption protects privacy. Encryption is used to protect sensitive data, including personal information for individuals. This helps to ensure privacy and minimizing the opportunities for surveillance by criminals. Third one is encryption protects data across devices. Multiple and mobile devices are a big part of our lives, and transferring data from device to device is a Risky proposition. Encryption technology can help protect stored data across all devices even during transfer. Additional security measures like advanced authentication help deter unauthorized user. Next is substitution cipher methods. Substitution cipher methods are the methods of encryption in which the characters of original text are replaced by some other characters. This substitution is done by a fixed predefined system. In the following, we discuss two commonly used substitution ciphers. The first one is Caesar cipher. What is Caesar cipher? Caesar was a Roman politician and military general who played a critical role in the rise of Roman Empire. Caesar used the method of encryption for sending messages to his soldiers and generals. This is the reason for calling this method as Caesar cipher. In this method, we replace each alphabet in the plain text by another alphabet. The replacing alphabet is some fixed number of steps to the left or right of original alphabet in the sequence of alphabets. For example, a 3-character substitution to the right result in the following transformation of the standard English alphabet. Initial alphabets are plain and the encryption alphabet is below given. Within this substitution scheme, the plain text Pakistan would be encrypted into the ciphertext, like you can see. Example number 2, a 5-character substitution to the right result in the following transformation of the standard English alphabet. Initial alphabets are plain text, plain alphabets, and the encryption alphabets. You can see within this substitution scheme, the plain text Pakistan would be encrypted into the ciphertext. You can see. Second one is Vigenère cipher. Vigenère cipher is another substitution cipher which uses a table known as Vigenère cipher table for substituting the letters of plain text. Vigenère cipher table. The table is shown. The table consists of 26 rows and 26 columns, where the first row contains the original alphabets from A to Z. In each subsequent row, the alphabet is shifted by one letter to the right. All the columns are labeled by alphabets from A to Z, and all the rows are also labeled by alphabets from A to Z. Vigenère cipher method. In this method, we have a substitution key that is combined with the plain text to generate the ciphertext. We encrypt each letter of the plain text by finding that letter in the common labels of the Vigenère table, and in that column we find a letter that is in front of the row label for the respective letter of the key. We continue this process until all the text is finished. Example, let's assume that we want to encrypt Pakistan with the help of substitution key Zindabad. We find P, first letter of the plain text, in the column labels, and Z, first letter of the substitution key, in row labels. We can observe that the row and the column meet at letter O as marked with yellow color in the table. So the letter P is converted to O. Similarly, we find that letter A in column labels, which is the first column marked with green color in the table, and we find the letter I in the row labels. Row and the column meet at the letter A, I. So A is replaced with I. In this way, the word Pakistan is converted to ciphertext as given. Important note: if the key has less number of letters, then we repeat the letter of that key from beginning. For example, to encrypt the text Pakistan having 8 letters with the key BUT having 6 letters, we repeat the letters of the key to make them equal to in length to the given plain text. So the key becomes BUT-B having same number of letters, and this key is called interim cipher text. Interim cipher text. Next is using Vigenère cipher widget. There is a widget available at the website like given. It is called Vigenère cipher encryption widget. It all shows animation of the encryption and decryption of plain text by using Vigenère cipher method according to a given key. Screenshots of this widget is shown. We can type text on upper left corner and provide a key for encryption. Press the encrypt button and then click on this arrow sign to see the animation of encryption. Both the buttons are marked with red circles. Similarly, we can decrypt a ciphertext to see the original message. Practical to decrypt a message. To decrypt a message, we find the letters of key in the rows of Vigenère table, and then in that row we locate the letter of encrypted text. When the letter is found, we may take the column heading for that letter as decrypted letter. For example, to decrypt this word, this word with key Zindabad, we find the row for the letter Z, and in that rows we find the letter O, where we can identify the column heading, that is P in this case. Similarly, we continue this with each letter of the ciphertext and decrypt the ciphertext. Next topic is encrypted with a random substitution using frequency analysis. Messages encrypted with the Caesar cipher are very easy to crack. What if instead of shifting the whole alphabet, we map every letter of the alphabet to a random different letter of the alphabet? This is called a random substitution cipher. In this variant of the tool, you will be interacting more with the graphs that show letter frequency. Maybe the most common letter in your encrypted text maps to the letter E, but maybe not. You will have to do a bit of guess and check to see if that substitution makes sense. In crypt analysis, frequency analysis is the study of frequency of letters or groups of letters in the cipher text. The method is used as an aid to breaking classical ciphers. Weaknesses and security flaws of substitution ciphers. The simplest of all substitution ciphers are those in which the cipher alphabet is merely a cyclical shift of the plain text alphabet. The explanation for this weakness is that the frequency distributions of symbols in the plain text and in the ciphertext are identical, only the symbols having relabeled. Another major problem with simple encryption ciphers is that the frequencies of letters are not masked at all. Next topic is encryption with keys and passwords. Relationship between cryptographic keys and passwords. Passwords are used for authentication to enter a system, whereas cryptographic keys are used to read an encrypted message. So, with respect to computer security, a key is not synonymous with password. It is also possible that a password can be used as a key. The basic difference between Though these two is that a password is generated, read, remembered and reproduced for a human use while a key is used by the software or human to process a message by using that key and the cryptographic algorithm. Some server computers store key on our computers when we access them first time. For later use, the same key is used on our behalf but without any action from our side. Characteristics of a good password. What are the characteristics of a good password? A good password should be difficult to guess or crack. It helps to prevent unauthorized people from accessing files, programs, and other resources. A good password is at least 8 characters long, does not contain your username, real name, kid's name, or company name, doesn't contain a complete word, is significantly different from previous passwords, and should it contains uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols.